So our whole reason for starting this No Lights Challenge was a few things. First of all, the United States has over $13.5 trillion worth of consumer debt. Now that includes things like mortgages and car loans and credit card debt. Now we're not much different than the average American, but over the past year we have been really taking a look at our spending, trying to really hard to get out of debt completely and to pay attention to what we're spending our money on and things that within our house. So you may have seen my video a few weeks ago about decluttering a kid's closet. We have done a lot of decluttering in our house over the past year. We did a yard sale back in the spring and we were actually shocked at how much stuff we took to this yard sale that was in our house. And since then, I've done decluttering again throughout the whole house and we have just as much stuff again. So it's not just about stuff though. We have spent a lot of time focusing on talking about debt to our kids and how you do not have to be in debt to be successful in life. So consumerism as a whole, whether you're watching TV or you're riding down the road or you're listening to the radio, you're constantly bombarded with advertisements and you need this and you need this and you need a new house and a nicer car and you need new clothes and this. And while we're not much different, we have really just been trying to get a handle on all of that, decluttering, selling, and paying really close attention to what we spend our money on now. So because of that, we've done a few challenges. We have done a no spending month where we didn't spend anything, and we did that a few years ago when we were first starting out homesteading, where you spent nothing except for necessities for the month. So you would pay your bills, you could go to the grocery store, put gas in your car, but you didn't hop on Amazon and you didn't order something just because you thought you needed it. About a few weeks ago, actually, we actually did a no spend at the grocery store for about a week and a half, and we were able to clean plenty of things out of the freezer, refrigerator, and pantry. Everyone was fed. We had 3 meals a day, plus these kids eat tons of snacks, but everyone was fed. We were cleaning out things, and we didn't spend any money at the grocery store. So little challenges like this don't have to be hard for your family. Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel. If you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, you'll know that over the past 7 days, we have done a No Lights Challenge. Now what that means is that for the past 7 days, whenever it started getting dark outside, and even during the morning and during the day when it's been light, we have not been using our lights. So during the day, it's easy. You know, the sun is bright, we open up all the curtains, we open the blinds, and we use the natural light to see. Well, at nighttime, since we've gone back to daylight savings time, or daylight savings time has ended, it starts getting dark, you know, between 5:30, it's starting to get dark. And the way our house faces, where the main parts of our house are, it starts getting dark in the inside by 5:30. So I want to take just a few minutes to share with you our takeaways from this week and what everybody thought. So what did we do for this No Lights Challenge? We didn't use our lights, yes, during the day or at nighttime. We had 2 oil lanterns that we used. My grandmother actually found them at a thrift store. We used those, and we used a bunch of headlamps. And when I say a bunch, we started off with 2 headlamps, and then we have some that we use outside doing our chores, taking care of the cow and other animals. So we brought some of those upstairs too. So by the end of the week, I think we were using about 4 headlamps, and we actually didn't burn the oil lanterns much towards the end of the week. But the kids enjoyed it. They thought it was fun. They thought it was neat. We were able to bring up a lot of conversations about what people used to do and talk about needs and wants a lot. So if you're thinking about a challenge, I wouldn't discourage you from doing something that you think is impossible. I think that you'll find as a family, you are able to discover a lot of things together. So I'll tell you a few things what we got out of this No Lights Challenge and some things that I just happened to notice, and I'll give you our thoughts on if we will do it again or if we'll continue it. So one of the very first things I noticed was that our nights were a whole lot calmer. So it gets dark inside starting around 5:30. I mean, it's pretty dark outside by 6, and we generally put our kids in bed by 8. So from 6 to 8, it was dark, and we would have to use headlamps. Now we could use that, or lanterns. Now we could use that for doing dishes. We could use it for eating supper. The kids cleaned up their toys using the headlamps, and everything was fine. sometimes I feel like our nights can get really hectic, just, you know, getting everybody fed, if it's bath night, getting everybody to bed, plan, you know, things ready for the next day. I feel like your night can get really hectic, but I do feel like that over the past 7 days, nights have been much more chill, and I think we've had a lot more family time together. So we played a board game by Oil Lantern one night. We actually read some books by Headlamp. The kids would just sit down and play together. I looked one night and they had gotten out paper and markers, and 3 of them were sitting on the floor drawing together with the headlamps. So just because they didn't have light, that didn't stop them from doing anything that they wanted to do. Anyway, they also got very good about reminding us if we walked in a room and turned on a light, oh, you're not supposed to turn that light on. And, you know, we'd turn the light off. Just purely out of habit, you walk in a room and flip a switch. So by the end of the week, that actually got easier. You didn't just happen to flip a switch. And the kids were really good reminders of that. Another thing we noticed was that everyone slept better. So there's been plenty of research showing that now everyone is inundated with lights, and your brain and body doesn't go through the natural process of getting you ready for bed and getting you ready for sleep at night. Well, with us not having extra lights in the house, I feel like everyone slept better. Caroline goes through spells where she doesn't sleep great, but she slept all week. The kids would go in their rooms, and sometimes we hear lots of chitter chatter, and they get up out the bed and they come and they need this, and this. But everyone went in their rooms. It was bedtime, and they didn't pop up out the bed. There wasn't a ton of playing going on. We couldn't hear going on in there, and everyone slept. So I'll also say that actually by the end of the week, I looked one time, and it was 7:40. All the kids were in bed, and my husband and I were getting into bed too, and it was 7:40. But it's not that we just threw everybody in bed because we wanted to be done with no light night. It was that we were actually tired. They were tired. Our bodies by the end of the week, I feel like, had started getting accustomed to not having lights in your face constantly. We didn't pay attention. We paid more attention to our bodies than we did the clock saying it's bedtime. And so we were actually tired, and we went to bed, and everyone got a really good night's sleep. And I feel like our days went much smoother because everyone was well rested from the night before. So as silly as it sounds, I feel like no lights, we had calmer nights, we slept better, we went to bed earlier just because naturally we were more tired because there weren't lights being shown at us constantly, and our body was able to get on more of a natural rhythm of sleep patterns. I also feel like we were in better moods, and I think that just goes back to the sleep. If you're not getting a lot of sleep, then you're grumpy. And so I feel like all the kids were just in better moods, and everyone was just happier as a result of better sleep. So also, it gave us a great opportunity to talk about needs versus wants. So we could talk about how we also homeschool. So it was a great learning and educational time as well, because we could talk about the past versus present. We were able to talk about what people did back in the day for lights, and not only lights, but we talked about telephones, and we talked about transportation. And so we were able to talk about some of those things that we typically wouldn't sit around and talk about on a normal evening. I mentioned earlier how I thought that we had more family time. We were able to play board games and read books, and the kids seemed to play together better. And so I think that our no lights was a success. When I asked the kids about it, what do you think about it? Do you like it? The next day, after the first night we had done it, they were like, I don't know. We were riding on the road, and I was talking to them about it, and they didn't really have much to say. But then by the third and fourth night, they would say, oh, remember, it's no lights tonight. We need our headlamps. Like, they were looking forward to it, and they were ready for it. So, our 7 days is up. But no one has said, hey, we're turning all the lights back on today. We are actually just going to, I think, maybe just keep going with it and see where it goes from here. It's not a bad thing. Everybody in our house survived it. No lights. It's not that big of a thing. And the ugly text messages I got after I posted that we were starting this and all that, It's really just not necessary. My children were not deprived of anything. They still did anything they wanted to do. One of them rode their scooter through the house the other night with the headlamp on. Like, they did what they would typically do. But I do feel like things were more calm. Bedtime went better. You know, when it was bedtime, it wasn't like, oh no, I'm still gonna do such and such. No, they just were like ready for bed. Everybody was ready. We were naturally getting tired, and it ended up being a good thing for our family. So if you've ever wanted to try a challenge before, it doesn't have to be no lights. It can be no sugar. It can be do a no spend month. You know, those have been great for us. Do a don't go to the grocery store for a week month and see what ideas and what recipes you can come up with just with food that's in your pantry and in your freezer and fridge already. I think that you'll find it to be very beneficial for your family, and I think that you all will learn something from it. If you never try it, you never know, you know, what you're going to gain from it. It's just a really eye-opening experience, and I think that you'll find family time, not only are you going to learn something or are your kids going to learn something from it, you're learning together. So things where I would never have thought that I could do the dishes in the complete dark before. But having a headlamp, you know, it wasn't that bad. You'd be surprised at how much light one headlamp gets off. Also, some of these that we have, you can adjust the brightness of the light, and I didn't even have to set it to the brightest setting. Like, we were okay in here with a headlamp on. You know, as long as everybody could see where they were going, we weren't running into each other, everything was fine. So try a challenge here and there. You'll be surprised. I think you'll be surprised in the end as to what you get out of it. And if you do have ever tried a no lights challenge or any other type of challenge, I'd love for you to leave that in the comments below so we can see what you've been up to also. Thanks so much for watching our video. I'd love for you to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We'll catch you next time.